Okay, morning, Edel. Thank you so much for joining me for our very first Spotlight sessions. So in these Spotlight sessions, I'm taking inspirational business owners like Edel, and I'm going to be sharing with you their stories of success, all the, I was going to say all the dirt as well. So we're not all about sharing all the unreal stuff. What's it really like when you decide to go fully in on your dream and back yourself to grow your business? And Edel and I have worked together for 6 months, a bit longer.
Yeah, longer, about 9 months, I think, maybe.
9 months.
Yeah.
9 months now. And it's been an absolute pleasure to get to know her and her business. And I'm super excited about sharing with you, her sharing with you about what it is she does and inspire you to back yourselves too. So Edel, without further ado, let's talk about, can you just give us like a little intro about you, your business, and kind of a potted history of why it is you started it, and like, so we can have a bit of context.
Sure. So I am the owner of Accelerate Accounting, and it is a virtual accounting practice. And it's focused really on female business owners who are mostly in the service-based businesses and online, who are looking to grow their business. And aside of that too, I kind of have two target markets really. Is I also work quite a lot with nonprofits and community organizations. So the idea behind both sets of people is really to empower people through financial knowledge. So, that's the pain point that a lot of people have when they're growing their business, whether it's a nonprofit or a commercial entity, that you can have that gap in your skill set when it comes to accounting and finance. And it's nice to have that support on a regular basis rather than once a year when it's too late at that stage. The information is useless. So I really have based the practice around like a business partnering model rather than your standard accounting practice.
Yeah. And I love that, because one of the things that really strikes me about you and your uniqueness about your business is those relationships, in terms of people like trusting, relying, and like you said, it's more than just a transactional business where the accounts go backwards and forwards, and you're really there in terms of like the support side of things too, because you get it what it's like for these business owners.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Okay, so I'm just want to take your mind back. So if we go right back to when you started your business, so way before like you and I met, like what were some of like why is it that you went in on leaving your job and starting your business, and what were some of your concerns at that stage? Because what I'm interested to hear is how we talk about that being like such a big leap, but I also want to document how these challenges face us. Doesn't matter whether we're brand new to business or later on in business, there are similar challenges at different times. But what were some of those challenges right back at the start, and why did you decide to take the leap then?
At the time, I was working in like corporate entities, and I was just getting to the point where I couldn't agree with what the decisions were that the management teams and like the higher ups were taking. I just couldn't align with what was going on anymore. And that was niggling me probably for months before I decided this is not where I want to be. And there was one day, it was literally one day, I remember so clearly, going in to ask for time off for my daughter's speech therapy lessons. And I was told no. And I just sat there and I was thinking, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I'm going to be at the appointment. So this was a formality really. And I just thought, like, I didn't even respect the people that I was working for. I didn't agree with what they were doing. And I just thought, like, why am I here? Like, this wasn't, I knew it wasn't the place for me. None of it aligned with what I think or how they should have treated their clients. And I knew then, I was like, it's time to move on. But when it came time to move on to a new position, I thought, the role I'm looking for doesn't exist. It's not out there. I'm not going to find it. And I did look. I spent months looking, and I was offered different positions, and nothing was really what I was looking for. So I decided I'm going to create this for myself. I just thought, like, how is nobody else really, providing these services in the way that I think they can be provided? So that was the reason. That was my mindset behind starting the business. The thing that pushed me into doing it was, I had a few clients anyway beforehand, very small now, and it was kind of like a side hustle thing, let's say. and an opportunity came up at the right time, and it would have meant I probably had maybe 10 hours a week. And I just thought, like, now is the time. That's an opportunity. It's not a full book of clients, but if I don't go now, the opportunity won't come up again. It was a nice starting base. And I just said,
Yes.
like, feck it, I'm going to go for it. And obviously I chatted to my family and made sure everyone was okay with that. Because I was giving up a good salary. And I just took a moment, probably a moment of madness, where I thought, I'm going to take the risk. It's like that idea of backing yourself. Like, I trust myself. And I knew deep down, I was like, I know I'm capable of it. And I know if it doesn't work, I can go back and get another 9 to 5 job. Like, that's what I always think of in moments where I'm thinking, like, we all have our wobbles, and I think, oh God, is this worth it? I know tomorrow I can go out and get a 9 to 5 job if I have to. That's the worst that can happen. And I'll be back where I started. It's not a big deal. And once I realized that took the fear out of it to a certain extent. And I just said, yeah, it's time to back myself and just see what I can do, basically. I felt like people were capitalizing on what I could do beforehand. And I just thought, like, they're taking the benefit when, it's my work and it's my relationships they're building on. And it's time to kind of take that for myself, really.
Yeah. And I think lots of people listening to this will be able to relate, and as I can, with that whole, is this the way I wanted to build my career around my family life? And that's something that I, talk a lot about in terms of freedom and flexibility. So if we just fast forward, knowing you, Edel, you took the leap, you started your business, you started getting clients and, building a great foundation. And then we kind of got to where you and I started speaking, because you haven't been in business that long, and then at that point you were recognizing that actually there was really something here. Like, lots of people were wanting to come to you, and you wanted to expand, but you could see it having an impact on your children at home and your family life. And without wanting to take the words out of your mouth, I sensed that there was that challenge of like, whoa, okay, I've got into this business for freedom and flexibility, and now all of a sudden I'm feeling more tied down to my job. I'm using my own words there. Do you want to just describe kind of that point of where you and I started getting into conversations about growth without sacrifice?
Yeah, that's exactly it, basically. Like, it came to the turn of coming into 2020, and it suddenly grew very quickly from the last quarter of 2019. And I knew coming into 2020 the growth was brilliant, and I obviously loved it, but I knew I couldn't. It was growing too fast for me. It wasn't sustainable, and I was either going to hit the point where I had just created another job that was going to mean like 80 hours a week, or I was going to burn out completely. And in doing that, I probably would have lost clients because I wouldn't have been able to deliver the same sort of service. And I just knew, I got to the point in January, I thought, okay, the growth is there, but I can't manage it. I just couldn't keep control of it. And I never thought that would be a problem, but it is a problem. And that's when I went looking for, how do you grow a business? If you were at that stage, I was one person. How do you grow? And that's how I find you. So that was the whole point. I just thought at that stage, you can't have the balance. That's what I was thinking. I can't have the growth if I want the balance between my home life. Or is it possible? That's what I was looking for. The answer, really, is that possible to have that balance? And yeah, that's exactly why I came to Time to Lead, and it is possible, basically.
And when you were at that point, because again, this resonates with so many conversations I have with business owners, are like, okay, or maybe not, they're not even maxed out now, but they're like, if I want to grow, I'm going to have to invest so much more time, so much more energy. Maybe I'm happy with where I'm at. Maybe I shouldn't have these growth options. Maybe it's not that easy. Like, but you made that decision to be like, okay, I'm not going to continue as it is. I want to do things differently. Like, can you tell me more about how you came to that, like from an emotional stance, like how you talked about backing yourself before? Like, tell me a bit more about what that actually means to you.
For me, that's about achieving my own potential. So, like, understanding like what you're able to achieve. And it's like, we would tell our kids this all the time, like, strive for your full potential, but we probably don't act on that ourselves. And I just thought, when I saw the growth around that time, it was really, for me, it was kind of like a proof of concept, because clients were coming back with bigger projects and they wanted more things done. I was thinking, God, they have more faith in me than I have in myself. Do you know that way? Yeah, it's true though. Like, and I just thought, like, how far can this go? And then I started dreaming, and I was thinking, in 5 years' time, I could have a small team. I could have, like a bigger practice than I thought, and I had a figure in my head for turnover, and I thought, like, that is possible with the levels that I had at the time, but not if it was just me and I didn't want to work every day of the week and absolutely burn out. So I saw the potential. And if I had been on the other side and it was a client of mine I was talking to, I would be saying, go for it. Like, you know, get the structures in place, just do it basically. So I said, right, I'll try and remove myself and give myself my own advice basically. And that was the point where I kind of gave myself that like deal breaker, like, you know, it is possible. So just try it, just see if I can grow it basically. And that's why I knew I wanted to try it. I wanted to give it a good go. So I needed some sort of help basically to do that. And that's
and that's where
yeah.
we obviously connected, looking at kind of when you were searching. I remember you and I have had this conversation before about like, oh, I was just searching for, like, I know people grow businesses, but how are those small steps? And I talk about that kind of doer, manager, leader phase, and you were very much in the doer phase. It was like, how do I get to the manager phase without letting clients down? How do I get there without working all the hours? How do I get there in a way that I still keep some level of control in the business? Because I know that's quite a big thing, that I still keep my finger on the pies, as it were, but I'm not having to do all the stuff. So what advice would you give someone who is sat there watching this thinking like, oh, I'm not sure, it feels scary. Like, you talk about team, like, oh, I'm not sure I want to manage people. You talk about systems, oh, that just sounds really like draining and boring. Talk about like removing myself from like doing all the things in the business, that just feels frightening, but they're still ambitious, they still want to grow a business. Like, what would you say to someone who's in that kind of limbo phase at the moment?
I'd probably say, like, if you took that fear away just for like 5 minutes and you thought like the fear wasn't there, where would you see yourself? Like, where would you dare to dream to be? And that's kind of the exercise I did. And I thought, like, I genuinely know the building I want my office in. I point up this direction because it's in the local town. And I drive by, I'm like, that's going to be my office. Like, you know, that's where we're going to be. I'm so clear on the vision now because I took time to like think about it. And in the meantime, I've said it multiple times, I've no clue how I'm going to get there, but I'll figure that out along the way. So having that like clear vision of where you want to go, just take the time to sit down and do that. And the other thing that helped me was kind of like almost like a proof of concept. Like once I was in it and doing the work, and I just kind of like dip my toe into other things like the consultancy side of things, that really I thought was going to be a once-off thing, and it's turned out to like a third of my whole business, and it's growing, and it's a great area of the business. But I really just was testing it at the time, and like I wasn't afraid to test it because I thought to myself, right, this will be a once-off. Like, there's no fear involved in that because it'll be a once-off project. See how it goes. If it's disastrous, I'll learn from it, and I know not to do that. But if it goes well, like, this could be a new revenue stream. So just test things out. If you're not sure of how to go about doing it, take it, like, do a small project, or like test something that you're bringing out in a small way. We all talk about, like, you know, these small offers. That's a great way of doing it. See how things work. Small steps. You know me, I like incremental changes rather than big changes in one go.
Oh, I do, but you
Yeah.
put the work in, you make the action happen. So obviously I've loved working with you over the last 9 months, and clearly, you know, you've had tremendous success. You've doubled your business in the global pandemic, when you've had to like be at home more, be with the children more. Do you want to talk to me a little bit about, because before we started, you said like you knew you had this aspiration, you knew you wanted to grow the business, you knew you wanted to bring in new ways of working, you were worried about how to do it. That's when we found each other, and you joined Time to Lead, my signature program. Do you want to just talk a little bit about where you are now, and kind of, you know, what are the key things you took away from the program that perhaps you didn't have before?
The main thing was the importance of, like, the system side of things is brilliant. And I completely, that's what I was joining Time to Lead for. I was like, the systems, the automations and everything. But growing the team in whatever shape or form that is, whether that's freelancer or contractors or employees, that's really how you're going to grow. Like, and that was the absolute terrifying thing for me, that I really was afraid of that. And in hindsight, on week 1 in Time to Lead, I probably should have been hiring a bookkeeper. And I think it was like week 9 when I like announced to everyone in the group, oh, I'm going to hire someone. And then everyone was like, yeah, you should have done that 9 weeks ago. Like it takes me that long to get to it, but it was literally the best decision I've ever done. It instantly made a difference. And I say within about 2 weeks, I had a new client on board, like a big monthly client, a retainer. And it meant I could open those marketing channels again and take on new clients. And then more recently, I've taken on an administrator, VA. And again, they're both contractors, but they're my team. And that has, again, like taken such a burden off me. So from how I was feeling in January, I was so overwhelmed. And I had no clarity about where the direction I was going to go in. And now I feel much more in control because I'm a control freak. And I feel confident about like the decisions, more confident about the decisions. And again, the tools that are in Time to Lead allowed me to kind of take those people on without worrying about like all the bits and pieces that go with it, aside from just managing them and their workload. So it's been a game changer, in all honesty.
Well, thank you for saying that. That's kind. But yeah, I've loved seeing your progress, and I've loved, just witnessing you step up and witnessing you make decisions faster, and knowing that you're not doing this all on your own, and being able to take, a game changer for me was when I saw you take 2 weeks off in the summer to go away with your family, and you're like, I've never done that. And I had inquiries, and we had sales, delivery stuff got done, clients got seen to, and I didn't do any of it myself. And it's like, wow, okay, that has made a fundamental difference in the way you work. And as ultimately we're being real here, it's not all plain sailing and smooth, and you've done put a lot of the foundation work in, but it's been an absolute joy to see when you do that it reaps the benefits. So how do you think then, now where you are and seeing your vision, I sense that whilst it's still, getting the office and the bigger team that we talked about right at the start is not, is going to be a gradual thing. How do you feel about the next phase of your journey versus the start? Does that make sense? Do you feel more confident about, I suppose, what I'm trying to understand with your growth? Now we've kind of worked on a lot of those foundations, and it is a bit about rinsing, repeating in many ways.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I think coming into 2020, it's like I said there, like I had the vision, I just had no notion how I was going to achieve it. And I was dabbling in bits of everything. That's what I was doing. I thought I was making progress by changing certain things or introducing new things into the business. And I really wasn't. I wasn't really concentrating on any one thing. It just, nothing was really working. Because I was indecisive and I just didn't have that direction. And we all know, like when you're a business owner, it can be isolating to a certain extent, which is why I love the community side of what we're involved in. And it just means now I'm clear on the action steps. Like they might sound like just day-to-day things, but even like having the team there is great in that, but just knowing, what I can do next. It doesn't need to be a big massive thing. It doesn't need to be a big massive jump in what I'm doing. I can make these incremental steps, but like you say, the foundations are there. Like I know now I need to review some of my processes. I'll go back to our SOPs and just think, right, I'll they need to be updated for the size we are now and what we're doing now. And that level means that my VA that's now on board, she can take those and things will evolve again. And in 6 months' time, we might come back again and change them. So it is this cycle, but I know that the processes are there. They'll change, which is fine. But it gives you confidence to know that they're there. You're not starting everything from scratch, basically, which is what I was doing beforehand.
And a lot of people say at the start, like, oh, I feel like I'm just winging it in business, and now like I'm a proper business owner. Does that resonate with you at all? Like, I haven't necessarily heard you specifically say that.
Oh, I have said that.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I've definitely said that. Just documenting what I was doing, like just that first, like such a simple thing, documenting what I was doing and having those processes to hand over to someone. Like my VA, she's only with me now 2 weeks, and I had said to her, like, you probably think I'm crazy, but I have my processes documented, and here's the document. And she was laughing. She was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Like, you know, because she has other clients that are just like, you know, can you please figure this out along the way? And I thought, oh, she's going to think I'm a lunatic, you know, because I have this, like, here's my file management process. But it meant that she hit the ground running. She was up and going, and I didn't need to really put a lot of time, not that I ignored her or anything, but I didn't need to
No,
put as much time into it, because she
yeah.
was just like, have the documents, have the videos. Yeah, we'll chat in a week. And everything was done. It's just brilliant, to be honest. It's great. It's great
And
to
then
have that relief.
yeah. And tell me then, how has that impacted your life? Being able to expand like this, like how does your life differ this 2021 versus this time last year? Let's put COVID to one side for a moment.
Yeah.
In business.
Well, this year, one, I'm actively marketing, because I've got Denise looking after a lot of the stuff that I would have previously done. Like this week, I had 5 discovery calls. I have 5 discovery calls booked in for next week. Previously, I would have really limited myself on who I could take on. And even just the scheduling of those calls, like that's all dealt with. I don't have to think about it. So that's all. So I can take on new clients. It's given me that space. But then overall, because I know things are looked after in the business, like I do finish at 5 o'clock. Like I shut the laptop off. I might answer a few emails in the evening if I feel like it, but I genuinely don't. I work 4 days, 3 or 4 days a week. I don't work Fridays. And I'm fully confident in that. Like I have an out of office on, and I don't go and work on a Friday, especially. I just don't do it. Coming into 2020, I would have been stressed about that. I probably would have been up at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Friday trying to get stuff done before the house descended into madness. You know, that's the way I would have been. I'm much firmer on my boundaries now, because I feel like things are being looked after, basically. I don't need to be reachable 24/7. That makes sense.
So tell me, what does 2021 hold for your business? Like, where are you going next? It's been great to see you clearly like double your revenue. You've been able to like take on more of the leadership role within the business, but where do you see the growth happening? What's the vision for this year?
For this year, my word for this year is strive. So I'm one of those people. I want to really see it I want to see what the business can do, really, like, you know. So I have my plan for the year, and I know I know revenue wise where I want to hit. And I think it's doable. I know we talked about it there just before we get on the call. Like, you know, I've already picked up one of the bigger clients that will help me achieve that. But I really want to get clear on like my messaging and my brand and my communication. So that's in the pipeline already. So we're starting that. And I do think I'll take on one more person on the team. I'll probably take on another accounts assistant or a bookkeeper. So yeah, I think like I originally thought like, oh, I'll have a team of about 5 people. If it goes the way it's going, I'll be up to 3 by the end of 2021. So nearly there. But it's grown at a manageable pace. That's the complete difference to 2020. 2020, those first 3 months, it was growing like crazy, and I felt like it was out of control. This time around, it's probably grown at a quicker pace, but it all feels manageable. That's the difference. Yeah, it's the absolute difference.
And I remember one of the pivotal moments when we were talking is when we understood, when we were looking at where the bottleneck is within your business, and you were like, whoa, I've been looking at this in the wrong area. Like I've been looking at like bottlenecks being at the front end being an issue, but it's only an issue because I'm stuck in the client stuff right now. So how do we streamline that? How do we get that humming so that we can spend time in the marketing? And I remember as soon as you did that, it was like, so I've got 3 new clients this week. I've got 3 new leads. Clients are just like coming to me because we're doing X, Y, and Z. And I always say I don't teach marketing, but it allows you to do the marketing side of things once we free you up of all the other crap you're doing. And there's so many people that can relate to that. I want to, in just a moment, talk a little bit about how you could help, because I know you would be a massive, brilliant help to a lot of people who are looking to sort their numbers out. And I know you've been a great advocate of that within the Time to Lead community. But before we go on to how people can find you and connect with you and work with you, I'd love you just to spend a moment to share your thoughts on those people who have heard a bit about your story, thinking, oh, I want that too. I want to have holidays. I want to finish at 5 and have a Friday off. I want to still be able to double my business. I want to back myself, but it all feels so scary and so unachievable, because we hear a lot, don't we, these silver bullet things online of like, double your business, you don't really have to work for it. Like, and I don't want to be like that, but clearly these are the results we get. So those people who are a bit skeptical or on the fence with time to lead, what might you say to them to reassure, encourage?
Well, the first thing is the community around it. Like it's like, you know, when people say find your tribe, which I hate that phrase, but that's what it's like. Like it was the first group I came to where I was like, these are all on the same, all these people are on the same wavelength as me. You just get it like that's, and it's like, it's so supportive. That's the main thing. But it's like you said there, like how can you achieve it? The one thing that time to lead taught me was the areas I should be working on in my business, and like the areas I shouldn't, which is equally as important. And they're the areas that as soon as I identify them first off, because I absolutely would have completely had my head in the clouds and ignored them, until I pinpointed it and just sat down and did those exercises, I couldn't have grown anymore. I couldn't have tackled them. So that was the big exercise for me, identifying those points that were really holding me back, and then having the discipline to actually say, I'm not going to be working in those areas. I need to get help. Or if it's a system or a person or whatever, this is how I'm going to grow my business, and this is what I need to remove before I do that. Otherwise, it's you're going to be stuck. And that's exactly where I was until I implemented what you were teaching. It's not just about kind of coming to the course or the group and listening. Like the implementation, like we all know, it's so important. And it wasn't until, like I say, I was a slow learner, until I came round that I saw it instantly. Like, you know, I did see it instantly, and it was great. So it's honestly been the best investment I've made in the business. It's the biggest change I've seen has been after I invested in time to lead. So anyone sitting on the fence, definitely reach out and have a chat, whether it's myself or anyone else in the group. I'm sure they'd be happy to talk about it.
Thank you. That's really good. And it's been great to see you and lots of the ladies in there have massive changes. And I always say this, like, yes, you have to implement the stuff. We do everything we can to support you, and we care about you as an individual as so much. You have to put it in place, and then we will do everything to back you and to support you, and to see the results you've got is fantastic, because ultimately I have this program because it gets results. Like it doesn't make any sense or any fun for people not to get results. So for you and your colleagues to get these results is just amazing. Now I know you also have a business with a really big heart, and your clients sing your praises and often all the time refer to you. So can you just tell anyone watching or listening to this, like how they can connect with you, what they might need you, like what specifically you help people with, and how they can reach out and find you if this resonates with them?
Yeah, so you can find me on accelerateaccounting.ie, because obviously I'm Irish, and most likely you'll find me on Instagram, Facebook not so much, so it's just Accelerate Accounting there. And what most people tend to find me for first is usually a financial health check, or a quarterly financial review is usually what a lot of people do, just to see, are they on the right track, you know, to have that eye on things that are going on, where as the business owner you mightn't be as financially savvy, or you just might want that expertise of somebody looking over and telling you you're either on the right track or you need to get back on track. So they're the main things you might find me for first, and then you can see what goes from there. But yeah, definitely reach out if anyone has any questions or queries, they can reach out.
And you know, one of the things, exactly as you say, I teach about playing to your strengths. So if finance isn't your strengths, you need to outsource it. In fact, I often say, like, bookkeeping and account stuff is the first thing a business owner should outsource, because knowing the numbers, knowing the data is a game changer with you being able to make the right decisions and grow your business. So if numbers, like me, numbers was not my thing at all at the start of business, and it's holding you back, maybe you don't want to send those invoices, maybe you don't quite know where your business is at each month, and you want to be proactive with it and understand like what's really going, where are we bleeding money and probably time, then Edel is the lady for you. And so I will make sure that wherever this video is, we tag your website as well, so people can come find you, Edel. You're an absolute pleasure to work with, and I know you go above and beyond for all your clients. So it's great to be able to recommend people that I've worked with. So thank you so much for joining me today. That's been so helpful. I've really loved seeing your journey and story. And you know what? I can't wait to get to like this time next year or the end of 2021, and we're going to be having this conversation again, and you're going to be like, okay, so now I thought I'd be here. Because one thing I know about you, Edel, is you set very realistic goals, and I love that, but I'm there going, come on, Edel, I know you can achieve this one. So I know you're going to be absolutely flying, and I'm so proud and privileged to be on part of this journey with you.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate you joining me today, and I'll thank you for anyone listening. If you would like to see Edel's business, I will put the links below. And if you would like to know more about Time to Lead, I would absolutely love to share more with you. Again, I'll put the links below. But if you want to double your business income without sacrificing your family time, then Time to Lead is the place for you to come and join. It's a completely supportive community where we hold your hand through 12 weeks of implementation to reduce the amount that's on your plate and scale without sacrifice in a non-scary way. I'll just add that. So thank you so much for those who are joining, and I look forward to seeing you soon. I'm going to stop the recording.